So the goal of A1.1 and A1.2 was to sort of start to define your materials and selection data. So if I go through and we take a look, the example of what you just did, you've sort of categorized and gotten installation, sizes, product numbers on the first one. And then on the second one, you actually created the materials and added that information into the material itself, right? And so we developed these schedules, and you should have ended up with sort of this little material 3D diagram with some tags on it. So, and then you filled out your schedules here a little bit more completely than we did with the previous ones, and also connecting them to the material. So the next step is to get into the assemblies, right? And we looked at the NRC and the flame spread and smoke index, and the DCOF for the floors, and how the materials can be rated in different categories for code or ADA or well-being. And so the next thing we want to do is sort of move past the materials and look how the materials become part of an assembly. So if I go to this next sort of finished example, you can see now not only do we have the materials, but we have the floor and the wall and the floor above it. So it starts to become part of an assembly, which actually becomes a rated assembly of material. So you can see on the first page of A2, I have a series of wall assemblies and ceiling floor assemblies that you can select from. And a lot of them are going to have the STCs and the fire rating and the UL or the GA call out for the fire rating, which we will talk about that. Now, if I go to the next sheet, what we're going to do is we're going to go in and we're going to create a new floor, right? So if I zoom in on this guy, the original material floor is right there, and then the floor that supports it, the slab, is underneath it. And then this is a rated wall assembly here, and the wall panels that I chose are actually floating on the front of this, as you can see right there. And we're going to talk about like the difference between these wall tags, which actually talk about assemblage, and the material tags that we did last time. And then the ceiling, you can also see here's the structural floor for the wall above, and then the suspended ceiling here. And this is 1/4 of an inch. You can also see how constructed the floor is actually continuous, and would probably continue on beyond that. And this floor is also continuous, and this rated wall has to go from the floor up to the deck. And then the actual finished material is suspended off of those, right? You might have ductwork or lighting or something in there. And then the floor is, of course, attached to the concrete. So now we're going to start to like integrate this assembly and talk about what assemblies mean. And eventually what we'll get to, you can see here the elevation and the floor plan. And eventually what we'll get to will be this, which will have a sort of, oops, get that little guy off of there. You'll have this little 3D version. And then we'll also do some details, larger scale. So these are 1.5 inches of just the sort of assembly system itself, and take a look at that. Okay.